Hey guys, it's Curious again, and I said I would be more objective if further evidence came to light, but to be objective about my own views, I've come across an interesting situation, at least in how I conceive of this problem of judging a situation for what it really is. Well, the second story to come out about George Zimmerman was that not that he was attacked by Trayvon Martin, but that he walked up to him when he was walking away or turning around to see who was approaching him, and George Zimmerman pushed him, which I guess started the provocation or altercation, not provocation, well, a provocation for the altercation, if you will, and that started the fist fight that Trayvon Martin actually came out on top of, in which case Zimmerman pulled his gun and shot him. Apparently. Now this is from Trayvon's girlfriend and a phone call. The other reports were somewhat conflicting, but they were all from eyewitnesses. So I'm hesitant to believe in the first story because it sounds like, in the light of public outrage, people are just building a case against him. Of course, myself as a property owner, although I do believe in fair justice, I have a confirmation bias against Trayvon. I'll admit it. And, I've had problems with various people breaking into my yard and even physically assaulting me. So there is a confirmation bias there, as well as a cultural one. But to be objective, none of that matters. Well, the thing I'm presented with, to be honest, is two likely scenarios. Now we have another scenario that's at least likely that fits with the evidence, and I can accept that. But what it's hard to accept is they just didn't manufacture evidence that fit in with the scenario to go ahead and indict him, George Zimmerman, on the court of public opinion. And I don't think that's right. Of course, I can't really tell one from the other, but I'm objectively leaving open two different opinions that could both be equally valid, and there's reasons both might not be also, including public outrage. So I wonder. Oh, and someone brought my attention that if you're being attacked and you have a firearm, why can't you just fight back and not use your gun? Well, I'll tell you why, and every police officer knows it. It's because when you have a weapon and you don't want to just kill somebody right, like no one who is a responsible gun owner would, or is using a gun for a defensive situation, you are at a disadvantage in a fight. Because while all the attacker has to do is to try to bite you and disable you, you are at a disadvantage because you're trying to use your gun responsibly, and you're fighting to win, but you're also fighting not to lose because you don't want someone physically overcoming you that can get a hold of your weapon. You see, if you get knocked around or even disabled slightly, someone can reach in and grab your weapon and then they'll shoot you. You see, that's the difference. And plus, your focus is divided between two things, where all he has to do is overcome you to a point where you're slap happy or off balance or knocked prone, and then very quickly that person can retrieve your firearm, and most likely, well, people who are fighting you will take the best advantage. Maybe. But it seems more likely in the course of human nature that if you're fighting somebody that has a gun, you see the gun, you don't want them to pull that gun on you, so you will try to get hold of that weapon. And from there on, it's a fight for the gun. You can look many places on YouTube and see how that goes. There's very many videos that show police trying to retain control of their weapon and put in very perilous situations, because it seems that everybody that's fighting with them tries to fight to get away with the gun and use that gun on them. Something to think about. In any case, I think that other scenario is a likely one. A possible likely one. But I tend to side more with the witnesses. At least, honestly, the ones that fit my confirmation bias, which are in the majority of what I've gotten from the story so far. But there are a lot of contradictory facts that are flying around. In any case, that's my follow-up for this video, and I hope that's a little bit more palatable to some of you people that felt the outrage that most people are. Now, if it turns out that he is guilty, George Zimmerman, then he's guilty. And that's that. But, yes, I do think like a property owner. And, frankly, no matter how innocent somebody looks in a picture, it might not fit with what's happening in a situation. This is curious. Keep thinking. I know I am.